The future moves fast. The AvePoint Shift Happens podcast is your edge, where leaders unpack AI, data, modern work, and the mindset shifts that turn change into advantage. Hear what top innovators are trying next and how to make it work. Visit avpt.co/shift today.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, what I want to talk about is he's too old for her. I want to talk about the difference in ages as far as like a man and a woman, when a man purposely seeks a woman that is old enough to be his child. Now you guys know me. You've been following and listening for years. You guys know I don't talk about current events, but there was some current events that have happened here recently that is definitely worth the attention and worthy of talking about, but not specifically. I think I wanted to just get to the root of the question of the topic that we're going to discuss. So I have a general question. Why do you think men in their 50s are interested in women in their 20s? I see this a lot, and we've seen it here recently with Bill Belichick, the coach of the North Carolina Tar Heel football team, and former NFL great Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, who is mingled in a lawsuit at the time of this recording, stemming from a lawsuit of an alleged sexual assault versus his ex-girlfriend, or maybe then girlfriend, who is 22, I think now. And we'll get into that in just a few. But what I wanted to talk about this was because like it really blows my mind. And what I did was I reached out to some of the homies just to kind of get a feel, because full disclosure, I'm the old married guy, right? So I haven't had the desire to date anybody, haven't dated anybody. You know, my homies tell me all the time, like the last time I was dating, you know, Tupac was still alive. Bill Clinton was still in office. So it's been a minute since, you know, I've been on these streets, doing my thing. That being said, I'm still a man, right? And I still see things, and I still interact with other men. And the idea of seeking out someone who is 30 years younger than you or more, to me, is just like preposterous. So I wanted to touch on that part of the discussion, because after you get past the sensationalized headlines, there's a bigger question to be asked. So let's start right there. I'll start with Coach Belichick first. Now, if you don't follow football, Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest football coach of all time as far as the NFL is concerned. He's won 7 titles, I think, 6 or 7 NFL championships. Coached the Patriots for 20 plus years. Bill Belichick is worldwide respected for his genius. And, what he did with the Patriots is something unprecedented. He did it with alongside the great Tom Brady. And it probably won't be duplicated, at least maybe not in our lifetime, right? And Belichick left the Patriots, and he's moved on. He spent a year out of football, and now he's the head coach of the North Carolina football team, the Tar Heels. And Belichick recently made headlines a few years ago when he started dating a young lady by the name of Jordan Hudson. Jordan Hudson, at the time that they met in 2021. and they met on a plane. And Belichick, I think, was 69 at the time, and Jordan was 20. So now she's 24. He's 73. And so that dynamic is crazy in and of itself. I want to say Bill Belichick is divorced. I think he was married prior to this relationship. But it's still like mind-boggling to me that a man who has accomplished so much, who has, dominated on the football field, is looking for a mate. And there's nothing wrong with looking for a mate. I mean, we all want to be with somebody. But to find somebody who is, 40 plus years younger than you. I mean, like, Bill Belichick literally has grandkids that are probably older than this young lady. But nonetheless, as the old folks would say, she got him sprung. And I mean, sprung. Like, Bill is gone. Like, even to see Bill Belichick do public appearances with this young lady is mind-boggling to me because, again, I'm familiar with Bill Belichick. I don't really recall him doing any public appearances with his ex-wife. And it's not to say that he didn't. You'd have to Google pictures of that. I don't know that they probably exist, but I don't ever recall seeing Bill Belichick out in these streets with his ex-wife. And full disclosure, I don't know Bill Belichick personally, but I do have a connection to Bill Belichick because Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator for the New York Football Giants, which is my favorite football team. And my uncle played for Bill Belichick. And when Belichick was the defensive coordinator, my uncle's name is Harry Carson. He is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame after spending 13 years with the New York Football Giants. So there's a connection there. And I've often asked my uncle about Belichick. And surprisingly, one of the things that he told me about Bill Belichick is that he has a great sense of humor, which if you've ever seen Bill Belichick's press conferences, you would never think that the man ever laughs, right? So there's a small connection there, but I don't know the man personally. But like, why do you have a 24-year-old girlfriend? And before you even answer that question, what is it that you see in a 24-year-old? I mean, like, just seeing Bill on the red carpet, seeing him out in the streets, seeing him do this little press run that he's doing. It's crazy because Bill Belichick is someone, when he was in New England, didn't really, I mean, he did his obvious media obligations each week, but he didn't give the media a whole lot of talk, right? It was always him kind of mumbling and grumbling through his interviews. And, that's just who he was, right? And now he's this guy that's wide open. But more importantly, he has allowed Jordan to become a fixture in his run at North Carolina. Keep in mind, he hasn't coached at the time of this recording. He has not coached a game yet for North Carolina, but Jordan has become a fixture in his business. She is handling his PR. She is, in many ways, acting as his de facto agent. And that's very concerning because she doesn't, like, from what I could tell, I don't know that she has a business degree, but it's whatever, right? I saw some video a couple of weeks ago that was concerning. The video was from North Carolina's spring football practices, which they just recently wrapped up. And what was interesting was Jordan was on the field fixing Bill's shirt, right? What's concerning about that is, like, you rarely, if ever, see anybody on a football field that's not on the team or with the training staff. Like, that doesn't happen. Every now and then you might get, maybe the AD, which is the athletic director, or maybe even the president, if the president is coming to speak to the university football team or whatever. But not other than that, civilians aren't allowed on a football field, let alone a woman who is in a skimpy skirt and thigh-high boots. That doesn't happen. But it does if you're the coach's girlfriend. And so it made me think, like, what is Bill doing? Like, what is it that she's doing to him? I mean, I can kind of think of a few things she's doing to him, but but that's another story for another day. But nonetheless, like, you can't be on a football field, but you're allowing your girlfriend to be on the football field. And then Bill recently said, okay, hey, if you're going to send me any emails to Bill Belichick, the head football coach at North Carolina, make sure that you copy Jordan on those emails. So that's anything. So that's something as simple as someone ordering some helmets or someone asking him to attend a fundraiser. Doesn't that seem problematic? I mean, like, she's your girlfriend, but she ain't nobody when it comes to the university. The university hired you to coach the football team. Now, obviously, college football is a whole lot different from pro football. And there's a level of competitiveness and there's a level of control that goes there as well. But I don't think North Carolina signed up to have your girl or your lady really running the show. And they recently made headlines here when a couple of weeks ago when Bill sat down to promote his book. He has a new book out. He sat down with CBS Morning News to promote his book. And Jordan, who was at the interview off on the side, was listening as Bill was fielding questions, as he always do. And he was typical Bill Belichick. He was answering the question. He was dressed really bummy too, by the way, which is... He didn't have a suit on or anything. He had on this Navy shirt that was torn up. Not a North Carolina shirt, but a Navy shirt. I think he went to Navy back in the day. But nonetheless, the reporter asked Bill Belichick about the nature of his relationship with Jordan. He was like, people want to know, like, where'd you guys meet? And it's been widely reported that they met on a plane. Now, could that have happened? Of course it could have. It sounds plausible. But when he asked the question about them, you hear a voice off camera that says, oh, no, we're not talking about that. Next question. And the reporter looks over and Bill looks over and he's like, keep it moving. And he said, okay, so we can't talk about that. And she was like, no. And so Bill looks terrible in this. Like, I mean, yeah, you're coming to promote your book, but your girl is there. I mean, did you not think that he was going to ask about your girl? And here's the thing. CBS, according to reports, for what it's worth, they said that, hey, no questions were off limits. So Bill figured that he was going to get asked questions about his book, about, the transition from the Patriots to North Carolina football. He's a smart man. He's a very smart man. I do know that. You had to know that they were going to ask you something about your girl. I mean, like, you're 73 years old. She's 24. Did you not think that was going to be a topic that was going to come up? And again, CBS Morning News isn't like TMZ. I mean, that would have been the first question that TMZ would have asked. But Bill got to be smarter than that. And then so there was a whole media firestorm behind this. And subsequently, at the time of this recording, reports say that Bill has, quote unquote, sidelined Jordan from being the, I guess, de facto manager for him. Now, I don't know what sideline means. Does that mean that they broke up? Probably not, because they would have said that they broke up if they had broken up. But does that mean that, she's no longer speaking for him? Probably not, because, she said enough in that interview, off camera from that interview. And I saw the interview, and it's a bad look. I'm not going to post it on it. You guys can go watch it. You could just catch the 30-second clip that they showed. I mean, like, it's a very bad look. But Bill Belichick this is what he signed up for. And for him to expect people not to question how or why he's interested in a woman that is, so much younger than him, he's got to be crazy to think that we're crazy for asking. Is he too old for her? Of course he's too old for her. For me, I just don't understand the appeal. But we'll get back to that. Now let's move on to Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe, as I mentioned earlier, is a Hall of Fame tight end, played for many years in the NFL, transitioned from NFL to TV, and has been on TV probably for the better part of the last 15 years. So Shannon has found himself in a world of trouble. Shannon Sharpe was recently sued for $50 million by his former girlfriend, who is accusing him of sexual assault, right? And he's being accused of sexual assault, rape, on I think 2 occasions. I won't get into the details of the lawsuit, but you guys can read it for yourselves if you haven't done so already. Nonetheless, once the lawsuit came out, Shannon Sharpe made a public statement that he would be stepping down, or at least taking a break from his time on ESPN's First Take with Stephen A. Smith. Now, keep in mind, he only appears on First Take twice a week, Mondays and Tuesdays, if I'm not mistaken. And then he still has his almost daily podcast that he does called Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco. And he hasn't stopped doing the podcast, but he's been involved in this media whirlwind storm because of what's been alleged. And not only what's been alleged, but the age gap in which Shannon Sharpe and his former girlfriend have. Now, Shannon Sharpe, according to reports, met his girlfriend when he was 54 years old. I believe Shannon Sharpe now is 56 years old, but he met his girlfriend, Gabby, and at the time, she was 19 years old. Met her in the gym. He challenged her to a weight contest or something like that, and he said, hey, if you win the contest, I'll buy you a new set of breasts, allegedly. And it went on from there. And Shannon, if you follow the tabloid, Shannon last fall mistakenly, according to him, recorded him having sex, but you could only hear the audio with another woman named Michelle. This was off camera. Sharpe's explanation was that he went on IG Live, and that's how he didn't know it was on IG Live, but he had gone on IG Live, and all we heard was the audio. But he said it was a mistake. He said he didn't know how he went on IG Live. And then he subsequently fessed up to the fact that he did indeed go on IG Live and, press record, right? And again, all we heard was the audio. So once the lawsuit dropped, and I want to be clear that Shannon's accuser is being represented by Tony Busby. If the name sounds familiar, Tony Busby has been one of those lawyers who has been out there in the media for the last couple of years. If you don't know, he famously had 22 clients who filed sexual assault cases against Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. They actually all settled out of court. He also, I think, was working with one of the accusers who had accused Puffy for sexual assault, and as well as Jay-Z. Jay-Z's case was thrown out, but Tony Busby is what some would call an ambulance chaser. Keep that in mind. Again, it does not mean that Shannon's accuser, her name is Gabby, is not telling the truth. Time will tell, and should it go to court, we'll find out. But I said all that to say this just to kind of give you a background if you weren't familiar. So Shannon, according to his statement, this was a part of role play. He and Gabby would do role play and things of that nature. And there's an audio of Shannon saying, she would get choked. And there's more audio, as well as Shannon has acknowledged that there's a video that Tony Busby has as well. Now, we haven't seen the video, but I'm assuming that video is going to come out in court should it reach trial. Now, it was told to us that Shannon's accuser, Gabby, and her lawyer were offered $10 million. Now, if you've been following the tea leaves, Shannon's podcast deal is almost up, and he was in negotiations for a new podcast deal, which would pay him $100 million. I don't know who he's negotiating with, but if you're into negotiating and you don't want to pay him $100 million, you want to throw $5 my way, hey, give me a call. 12 Kyle podcast and Rap Soul podcast. We can do it for $2 if you want. But seriously, so there's a thought process out there, mostly amongst men, but I've seen some comments from women as well who think that, Gabby is out to get Shannon Sharpe. There's some people that think that Shannon Sharpe is being railroaded. There's some people who think that Shannon Sharpe is being targeted. And then there are others that are merely disgusted by the fact that Shannon Sharpe is 54, was 54, and was dating a 19-year-old woman. So that's where I want to go. I mean, I wanted to give you the background for those of you who didn't know, but I'm it's beyond me. And again, I reached out to some of the single homies, and I was like, okay, is there a dating? Is there a break where you say, okay, this is too young? And all of my single homies responded and was like, yeah, there's there's a certain cutoff age. Like, I just can't, and technically, if he's 54 and she's 19, she's legal. Like, it's not, you're not breaking any laws at that point. And I want to stop there, because what she's alleging is that he sexually assaulted her, and you don't have to be any age to sexually assault someone, right? You can be a husband and wife and you can sexually assault somebody. I mean, like, so that's something that's totally separate, and I don't want to confuse you with the two. Okay. So my point in saying that is that Shannon Sharpe at some point was, and he's acknowledged this, was dating this young woman.
My name's Mackenzie, and I started a GoFundMe for the adoptive mother of a nonverbal autistic child. The mother had lost her job because she wasn't able to find adequate care for this autistic child. So she really needed some help with living expenses, paying some back bills. So I launched a GoFundMe to help support them during this crisis. And we raised about $10,000 within just a couple of months. I think that the surprising thing was, by telling a clear story and just really being very clear about what we needed, we had some really generous donations from people who were really moved by the situation that this family was struggling with.
GoFundMe is the world's #1 fundraising platform, trusted by over 200 million people. Start your GoFundMe today at GoFundMe.com. That's GoFundMe.com. GoFundMe.com. This podcast is supported by GoFundMe.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP, because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done. If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP, because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
So it goes back to the question. I mean, like, you're 54. Like, what is it that you see in a 19-year-old? Because for me, and again, I'm married, I'm old, I'm washed, I'm whatever. 19 is 19. Like, I literally have 3 sons, right? My oldest son at the time of this recording is 25. My middle son is 22. My youngest son is 18. So I literally would be dating, if I were talking to an 19-year-old, I literally would be dating someone who went to high school with my son, my youngest son, Brandon. Do you know how crazy that sounds? Like I have a niece. My niece is 19. Like I could not. There's no parts of me that could reconcile that. I'm sorry. It's just like, and one of the homies told me, he said, man, well, you might see things differently because you have kids. No, I don't see things differently because I have kids. I see things differently because I have common sense. I have common sense. Like there's nothing that a 19-year-old could do for me if I were single. Okay. And if I were single and she was 19 and she was bad, then there's probably a good chance that her mom was bad too. So you know what? Call your mama, tell her to come over here and holler at me. It's just that simple. Like it makes no sense to me. So I got to thinking and I had a couple of questions. So first question, and these are just rhetorical questions that I just want to throw out there. What is the overall appeal of a young woman? I know a young woman has her body's built differently. I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, like, no, if you are 19, a 19-year-old body on a woman is different from a 49-year-old body on a woman. I mean, duh. It's the same difference with me. I'm 52. Trust me, I as good a shape as I'm in, I'm not in the same shape that I was at 22. I can tell you that right now. And I had abs and trabs and all kind of stuff at 22. Now, you got like one, maybe two pecs. That's it. I may have a half an ab right now, but I'm working. You know what I mean? I'm going to get it back. But my point in saying that is that I understand how genetics work. I understand how the human body looks and is. But when you show me a 19-year-old girl, a young lady, excuse me, all I see is 19. Like, there's nothing you could say. There's nothing you could do. I remember, and this conversation actually brings me back to an experience I had once here in the city of Atlanta. I went to a store. I was in the mall, and I was just on a humble, just walking around. I was in a store I think I was looking for some jeans or something. And this young lady came up to me, and she was cute, really cute. And I thought she worked there. And she said, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm cool. How are you?" And she was like, "What you doing here?" I was like, "I'm trying to find me some jeans." And I've told you guys before, like, you got to tell me you like me. I don't assume that. I didn't assume this based on the conversation we had. So she's having small talk, and she was like, we're talking, and she was like, "Well, I'm here doing such and such and such and such." And I happened to, in the midst of her talking to me, I happened to look down, and she had on some Air Jordans, and the Air Jordans were strung up all the way to the top. And I was reminded of something that an old player told me a long time ago. He said, you can always tell how old a woman is by what she's wearing on her feet. And that always stuck with me. You can always tell how old a woman is by what she has on her feet. Now, I'm not going to tell you that a 49-year-old woman wouldn't have Jordans on, because I know 49-year-old women who wear Jordan or 50-year-old women who wear Jordan. They ain't gonna have them strung all the way up to the top like they about to check into the game. Like it's the third quarter. Nobody does that, right? So I think I was probably about this. Let's just say this was, I don't know, 10 years ago. Let's say I was 40. And so she's talking, and as I glance down at her Jordans, I'm like, okay, so she's young. So I'm like, maybe she's gonna ask me something. And she was like, so where do you go to school? I was like, school? She was like, yeah, where you go to college? And at that moment, I was like, oh, she's hitting on me. And I felt so flattered because, like, there was no, if you watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. You see all the grades, you see it. And I'm never going to dye my gray. That whole dyeing the gray that's cheating. I would never do it. No knock to those of you guys who do. But so there was no gray, so I look young. And I mean, like, people have told me, like, you don't look 52, which is cool. It's a compliment. I appreciate that. Really, really do. Right? So at this point, when she says, where do you go to school? I'm like, oh, so she's shooting her shot. And I'm like, school? And I had this look on my face like, school? And she was like, oh, you're not in school anymore? She was like, I was like, no. I said, I said, I'm long past school. I said, I'm 40. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She was like, I thought you were much younger than that. And I was like, no. I was like, how old did you think I was? She was like, I don't know. She said, you look like you're about 25. I mean, no lie. She said I look like I was 25, which is a lie because I didn't look like I was 25. Maybe I didn't look like I was 40, but I definitely didn't look like I was 25. But you know what? To somebody who had not been out in the world, I probably did look like I was 25. And it was clear she hadn't been in the world yet. And that's cool because she's probably about 20 years old, right? Because a 20-year-old is going to have her Jordan strung up to the top like she's about to check in the game in the third quarter. It's probably going to happen, right? But I felt extremely flattered by the gesture. And I don't know. I mean, like, I always have my wedding ring. I don't know if she even saw my wedding ring. I don't even know if she knew the look, right? Because I'm not like one of those people that walk around and put my red wedding ring in my pocket. My wedding ring's always on. Like, only time I take it off is to like wash my hands. So she apologized. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were younger. And I was like, no, it's cool. It's cool. And she's like, this is so embarrassing. I was like, no, it's all good. I was like, it's nice meeting you, whatever, like that. And so she covers her hand over her mouth and she walks away and she's like, bye, I'll see you later, like that. And all I could do was chuckle, but it felt good because, I was like, okay, not that I didn't think I still got it, because we always know we still got it, right? I could step in the gym and shoot from half court if I wanted to. I just don't have to. Right. And so, but it felt good and it felt flattering. And I can only guess that maybe that's where men are. I don't know. I don't know necessarily that Bill Belichick needed to feel like that. Maybe he did, because for older men, particularly older white men, having a nice hot young chick, that's the shit. Like she is a showpiece for Bill Belichick, because all his old buddies, all of the cats that he cool with that are in their 70s, guess what? They got old wives. Their wives are in their 60s. Some of them might be in their 70s. Even their girlfriend, they might have a 50-year-old girlfriend and they're 70, right? But ain't nobody got the 24-year-old joint. And Bill got the 24-year-old joint. So he's pulling up like, yo, check me out. And what I've learned in business and just interacting with people, and not to generalize, but just what I've seen, for white men, that's the thing. Where I have the question is, what is it for black men? Because something we don't talk about a lot in our community is the old black creep. And listen, that ain't something I'm going to cover here on this topic, but we do need to have a conversation about the old creeps in our family, because almost everybody got that creepy uncle or that creepy grandfather, or, you know what I'm saying? Like that old player that's hanging around, that's at the young people club, that's, flashing money and all of that stuff like that. You want to be wanted by a younger woman. And I'm always reminded, about my old neighbor, my man Amos. When I first moved to Decatur, where it's greater, Amos lived above me upstairs. We both had 1-bedroom apartments. And Amos would entertain and have young girls. I'm talking about like 20, 25-year-olds. And Amos was probably closer to 70 at the time. But Amos had a little bit of money. So Amos would come through and Amos, this ain't funny, but Amos, like, he had like 5 or 6 teeth missing up at the top. And, so on the surface, like, I didn't think like a lot of young women would be attracted to him. But he had a little hoopty car, whatever, but he had money. He worked at the GM plant, and, he would kind of flash his money or whatever like that. So he would always call me Young Blood. He'd be like, Young Blood, you don't know what I was doing last night. You might have heard me downstairs. I was pushing up. Pushing up means he was having sex. So he'd be like, Young Blood, I was pushing up last night. You probably heard me. It's like, no, Amos, I didn't hear you. But I loved Amos. Amos was funny as all everything, right? And so, but there was an appeal there. But I mean, like, on the surface, it's like, Amos, you creepy. Like, you 70 years old and you got this 21-year-old at your crib. And I'm almost convinced that some of these young women who would come to Amos's crib would like take his money, like because Amos was, but he had money. He'd have money just laying around or whatever. So, but I think those people probably exist a whole lot more in the black community than we're willing to admit. And some of us are related to them, and we don't point them out. And so that leads me back to Shannon Sharpe. Is Shannon Sharpe one of those dudes? Because to me, it appears that you are, because you specifically targeted a 19-year-old girl. I mean, she's 19. Like I said, for me, at the end of the day, all I see is 19. You could have a nice body, you could have a nice face, but you know, you're 19. Like, and it's funny because they played the audio. Gabby's, I guess Tony Busby's law office or whatever, Gabby's lawyer, Tony Busby, played the audio, and there's an audio between of an exchange between Shannon and Gabby. And we were talking about it in one of the group chats, and one of the homies said, man, she sounds young. And I said, no, he said she sounds slow. And I said, no, she doesn't sound slow. I said, she sounds 19. I said, and the reason why she sounds slow to you, because it's been 30 years since you've talked to a 19-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Most of us have 19-year-olds, or at least, you know, they're coming upon 19. So like, for me, if I were single, I like to have conversations with the women that I'm dating. I was never going to be the guy that was going to pick up a chick at the bar and have a one-night stand with her. That never happened to me. No knock on those who do. That's never been my game. So like, I've only had sex once, but all of the women that I may have had sex with, I knew them. Like I was genuinely interested in them, but I've only had sex once. But that's another story for another day. So I don't understand that mindset. Like, I would think that you would want to have a conversation with people. And if we're just having sex, then we're just having sex. But this was like Shannon Sharpe's girlfriend. Like, and this is Bill Belichick's girlfriend. So like, outside of the bedroom, what are y'all talking about? Like, you gotta make sure that, you know, you're doing something. There has to be some type of connection outside of this physical thing. So, you know, I don't understand what's the appeal of young women. I don't understand it. Again, what are your conversations like? I'm genuinely interested to know. If I had a chance to talk to Shannon Sharpe, amongst other things, I would ask, like, what were your conversations like? What did y'all talk about? Like, y'all just like, what was there to talk about? She wasn't talking about what you talked about on TV. I don't think she was, you know, a sports fan like that. I know he met her in the gym. He's a workout guy. So maybe they talk about weights and lifting weights. But outside of that, like what are you talking about? Are you talking about politics? You talking about religion? Are you talking about what's going on in hip hop? I mean, are you talking about Kendrick versus Drake? What are you talking about with a 19-year-old? And I mean, the obvious, you know, we talked about it in the group chat, like, what is the sex like? I mean, the sex got to be, you know, swinging from the lights, I would assume, but here's the thing. You can find a woman your age that will swing from the lights and have sex with you. I'm almost positive that they exist. I know that they do. Because here's the thing. If she's in her 40s or she's in her 50s, she's probably had sex once or twice, right? And she probably knows what she's doing. And she probably can rock your world. Just a thought. And, you know, does the age gap even matter? Like, I can't imagine. I can't imagine bringing home someone and showing or introducing them to my sons, and my sons realizing that this is somebody that they could be dating. Or my daughter, who's 13 at the time of this recording, somebody who she probably could, well, I'm not saying she could kick it with a 19-year-old, but she ain't that far from 19 herself. You know what I mean? Like that, I don't understand. Like, does the age gap not even matter to you? And like, what do you want to accomplish from being with a younger woman? I guess that's the bigger question. Belichick, I get the idea of white men, because I've seen it and been around it. There's some, and I'm not going to say all white men, but I do know some white men that's their mentality. They've all, especially those who got married early and then got divorced. If they get a divorce, like by their mid to late 40s into their 50s, that next woman is going to be a hot young chick. It's a couple of things they're definitely going to do. They're going to go get a sports car and they're going to get a hot young chick. That's for certain. I mean, that's off top. So, and it's more or less, it's not even for the, the aesthetics of it. It's more or less to show the world like, hey, I bounced back and I got me this young hot chick and she's going to spend my money with me. I mean, that's what rocks your world. But for the brothers, I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand, because trust me, if she's fly, if she's cool, if she's fine as hell, her mama's probably the same. For black women, the apple don't fall far from the tree. I'm going to just tell you that right now. And I'll be honest, when I first met my wife, and then once I saw a picture of her mom, I was like, okay, that's how she's going to look when she gets older. And that was cool because her mom looked good. But it's not even about that. It's really like, what do you hope to accomplish from this? And for Bill, I don't know, because Bill has found himself answering questions about something that he's never had to do publicly. And for Shannon, he's looking at a lawsuit. And I'm not saying that the age gap is the reason. All the other legal stuff, I'm assuming, will take care of itself. Shannon has been accused before of assault. And I don't know what happened with that accusation. He's been accused, I think, of sexually harassing someone. And again, that has no bearing, or I don't know that it'll have any bearing on this case should this case go to trial. And keep in mind, this is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal one. So I don't know that she's alleged that anything criminal has happened. Nonetheless, he's got to fight that. And he's vowed to come back to ESPN. But at this point, I mean, does ESPN really want him back on the air? No. I mean, he's still doing his podcast, and I don't know if his numbers have dropped, but the more and more stuff that comes out, it's not going to look good for Shannon. And we already know too much as is. And if you're going up against a ambulance chaser lawyer, they're going to throw whatever they can at you. I mean, because that's what they do. I found it interesting that when they filed the lawsuit, she was filed as a Jane Doe. When Shannon made his response, he put her full name out there, which I thought you had to protect the people, but I guess not. And then he said she had an OnlyFans. So I'm like, wait a minute. Your girlfriend had an OnlyFans account and you knew this? And allegedly, she became upset with Shannon and broke it off after she found out that, the infamous IG sex thing happened. So I don't know. And that's allegedly the sexual assault occurred after that. It's always hard to prove whether or not something was consensual or not. I'm not here to litigate that or anything like that. I don't have a great answer for what happened because I wasn't there. And the only thing I've told you is what I've known or what we know so far. And I'm not going to deal in any rumors or innuendo. It'll play out and time will tell. In conclusion, I still ask the question, if you're too old for her, why are you together? If you have kids as old as the woman that you're dating or older than the woman that you're dating, why are you together? What is the appeal? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to prove? I mean, like, there could be, and probably is, something seriously wrong with you if that's what you target. It's another thing if somebody met you in the mall and just came up to you and started talking to you. But I mean, Shannon Sharpe's case, and in Bill Belichick's case, I'm sure they knew who they were talking to. It don't take a genius or a rocket scientist to figure that out. Time will tell how this thing plays out, but again, in my opinion, you're wasting your time. I mean, it's 7 billion people on this planet. You can find somebody your age or close to it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. I want to thank you all again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop new episodes every Thursday and every Sunday at midnight. Make sure that you check out our new episode. We have a new baby. It's called the Rap Soul Podcast. It is a music podcast where we talk about music from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s when it deals with rap, hip hop, soul, and R&B. It is the best music podcast that you've never heard, so make sure that you check it out. We drop new episodes every Monday. You can hit us up on social media, 12 Kyle Podcast across the board. We also have merch. Click the link in the description box and buy 12 Kyle Podcast t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. If you want to hit us up also on Cash App, contribute to the show, $TWELVEKYLE. Again, that's going to do it for me. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5,000. Cheers.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Grainger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Grainger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Today's tip from the injury law firm Greenberg and Betterman. Too many pedestrians lose themselves in their phones and have accidents when they walk. So don't do it. Greenberg and Betterman is here to help you. Contact gblawyers.com, that's gblawyers.com, and feel better.